G'day, my name's Ian and today we're going to have a look at drawing a roofing project. But what I thought I'd do is I would show you a little 3D model of the roofing project that you're going to draw, because I think it's really important that when you really sit down and draw something that you should really have an understanding of how the finished product's going to look. Now, when you see how I drew it on a computer in AutoCAD, but it doesn't matter whether you're drawing it on a piece of plywood or you're drawing it on paper or you're drawing it on CAD, the principles stay the same. And I think learning on CAD and then doing your drawing on the timber for the set out is a really good principle. I think you should understand both, in today's technology. So, and the beauty of being able to show it to you this way is I can show it to you if I want to. I can take the hip out, give it a bit of a spin, and you'll be able to see what it looks like without the hip in, and you get a better idea of the cuts. Or if I want to, I can give you a close-up of just the top of the creeper cut and really help with that visualisation of how that finished product's going to be. Anyway, I hope it makes sense for you. We start off with a 300mm square because we're looking at this in plan view, so it doesn't matter whether you're doing it on the computer, whether you're doing it on a bit of plywood, it's always going to start on the same sort of principle. Okay, so 300 by 300, perfectly square, and then 50mm above we need to put a line there, also 300mm directly in line with the square. The elevation is 300 by 300 triangle, so which makes it 45 degrees. So we've got the 300mm square on the bottom, which is our plan view. Then we've got the elevation, so the roof pitch is 45 degrees, so 300 along, 300 up, straight above. Now in our plan view of the 300 by 300mm square, we put a line diagonally from one corner to the other corner, and because the material we're using is 35mm thick, so we go 17.5mm either side of that diagonal line, and that will give us the hip. Now we're going to put in the two creepers. So in the plan view on the 300 by 300 square, we come in 35mm from the edge and mark in those, and they represent the plan view of the two creepers. Okay, now this is where the fun really begins. So we take the two long points of the hip, which is the diagonal corner to corner of the 300, and we come square off those and project them out to the side so that we can develop up the hip. Now that we've got the two lines projected up, we can now form the triangle which will become the hip. So we know that the hip rises to 300 and we've got the run of the hip there, so we just form the triangle that will be the rise and run of the hip. Okay, now we go back to our elevation of the rafter, or creeper rafter I should say, and the rafter itself has got a depth of 70mm, so we offset a line 70mm parallel to the top of the rafter line. And now we're going to do exactly the same as we did with the rafter with the hip. So we've got a depth of 85mm this time, and we're going to do the parallel line which represents the depth of the actual hip. one of the most critical parts of the exercise. The front of the foot cut, so the front of the foot cut of the creeper, drop it straight down. Drop the front of the hip cut down in line with your projections, and then where it strikes the corner of the 300mm square, come square off that and project it through the creeper that it's directly above. Project those points vertically up where they've struck the creeper directly above it. Now these red lines, bring them straight up through the elevation of the creeper. Now, where those lines that you've just worked out, draw a parallel line alongside the center of the ridge from that intersecting point that you discovered. Then, where it projects and strikes where the 35mm thickness of the creeper is, bring a line vertically up. Okay, just as per the drawing. So vertically up where it intersects the line where the top and bottom line of the creeper are. Okay, here we are. So we've projected the red lines up, we've projected the yellow lines up, now we project the green lines up, which is the front and back of where the creeper rafter strikes the hip rafter. Just bring them all up vertically. Okay, now it's just time to join it up. So from the lines that you projected up at the rear, bring them across to the points as per my drawing, and we've got that cut sorted. Okay, now it's time to project the hip up. So you can see what I've done in red. I've projected up where the edge of the hip strikes the 300 by 300 square. Then I've extended the lines out to where they intersect and projected that up as well. You'll see it'll become a little bit clearer in a minute. Pretty straightforward. Now I'm doing exactly the same, projecting up where the edge of the hip hits the 300. I'm projecting the other side out to where it would intersect and bringing that line up as well. Okay, now this time I can see where the edge of the hip strikes the 300mm square. I've brought that up and projected, and that gives me the point where I draw a parallel line along the hip, because that is going to be the point of the bevel. Then anywhere along the hip I come square off, I do my full size section of the hip and then connect it to the top, and that gives me the profile of the hip.